Welcome back to Rory Football. Now, there's 10 or so of you out there that actually watched my I can't believe he played for them video, and if you made it as far as Chelsea, you'll remember I mentioned that I forget some of the players that still play for us. So what I thought I'd do is create a starting 11 and subs bench of players who are somehow still employed by Chelsea Football Club. From serial loanees to big money flops to the long-term injury prone, it's pretty amazing just how many professional footballers Chelsea own. As ever with this channel, we're not discussing the legends who made this club great or the flops that sold us dreams. No, we look at the forgotten men, the ones who are the footballing equivalent of an old school textbook you were meant to return but never do, only to find it when you're moving out of your childhood bedroom 10 years later. Players who are wheeled out for 20 minutes in the first game of pre-season to never be spoken of again. So welcome to They Still Play for Chelsea? 11. Goalkeeper Jamal Blackman. As someone whose sense of humour in year 8 was essentially KSI eating chicken, I always hoped Jamal Blackman would make it. 9 years later, he is still a Chelsea player, although not in the way I hoped. He's currently 27 years old, out on loan on his 8th different loan spell, currently serving as Rotherham United's second choice keeper, with his career achievements to date being 3 caps at England under-19 level, a Wycombe Wanderers Young Player of the Year award, and the number 1 jersey in They Still Play for Chelsea 11. Left back, Bubba Rahman. Cast your minds back to the 2015-16 season. Chelsea were putting up a pathetic defence of the title. I was trying my best to make it in the booming Chelsea YouTube world, and all of life's problems could be solved by dropping Ivanovic, moving Azpilicueta to right back, and letting Bubba Rahman play left back. Turns out, the tactical geniuses who run Chelsea fans channels got this one wrong, and it turns out he was terrible and didn't play after that season. Given the state of Chelsea's left-back situation since that season, the fact he finds himself on loan at PAOK tells you all you need to know. Centre-back, Matt Mayaska. I was at the pre-season game against Reading before the start of the 2019-20 season, and I was surprised to see Mayaska lining up in central defence for the Royals, and was even more surprised to find out that we still owned him. I actually saw him play in one of his 2 Chelsea appearances, away against possibly the worst side I've ever seen, and he looked great. A week later, he was getting hooked at half-time against Swansea and hasn't played since. He's currently on loan at Anderlecht in Belgium at the age of 25. Centre-back, Jake Clarke-Salter. Partnering Mayaska would be Jake Clarke-Salter. Clarke-Salter has made 2 first-team appearances for Chelsea, and the first was in fact the same Aston Villa game Mayaska made his debut. Passo also scored that day, so it was a weird one all round. Anyway, he's 23 now and on loan at Birmingham City. Right back, Davide Zappacost. The word to best describe Davide Zappacost is strange. He's a strange Borat-looking man, a strange right-back in that he's so shit there I can't believe he is one, and it was a very strange signing for the champions of England to make at the time. I remember him coming on for his debut away at Leicester and thinking, who is this weirdo? And his fluky goal against some farmers in the Champions League did nothing to change that. He's still a Chelsea player though, and currently on loan at Genoa. Left wing, Kennedy. I can't lie, I really like Kennedy. Brazilian footballers are just better than other footballers, and pacey wingers who would rather flip-flap and rainbow flick than have any form of end product are good with me. I really don't know why we tried so hard to convert him into a left-back, but it certainly didn't help him. Given the events of the last year, I think visionary would describe him better than left-back. Anyway, the 24-year-old is currently on loan at Granada in Spain. Central midfield, Lewis Baker. On Chelsea's book since he was 9 years old, Jose Mourinho once said we should blame him if Baker, along with Dominic Solanke and Izzy Brown, are not England players in a few years' time. Well, Jose, you said that in 2014 and they have 1 England cap between them, and Brown and Solanke are currently in the Championship while Baker is on loan at Trabzonspor in Turkey. He did feature in our 1 pre-season game away at Brighton though, so maybe there's still a future of him somewhere. Central midfield, Marco van Ginkel. While on a football tour of the Netherlands in 2013, I was told by the Dutch family I was staying with that Chelsea had signed a quality midfield player in Marco van Ginkel, and to be fair to them, they weren't wrong. The only player to go from Vietesse to Chelsea instead of the other way round, seriously, like 7 of this team has had a spell at Vietesse. He looked alright for about 2 games before an ACL injury away at Swindon essentially ruined his career. Since then it's been a cycle of loan spell, decent start, then severe injury. He's currently on his 3rd loan spell at PSV, a club he helped to win 2 league titles previously. He's currently 28, and while I know the chances are slim, I've always been rooting for this guy, so would love him to play at least 1 more game for Chelsea. Last 5 minutes of the Community Shield next season or something, I don't know. Right wing, Charlie Massonda. A player who isn't actually on loan at the moment. Massonda has been spending nearly 2 years recovering from an injury that was potentially career-ending. His Instagram post suggests he's determined to come back and fight for his place at Chelsea, so good luck to him. Hope he makes it, as he was always highly rated as a youth player. Striker Izzy Brown. As mentioned earlier in the video, Brown is currently on loan with Championship side with Sheffield Wednesday. An ACL injury while on loan at Brighton in the Premier League. Yeah, I don't remember that either. Seems to have really stunted his development. Guess it isn't entirely your fault then, Jose. Striker Michy Batshuayi. I do remember that Batshuayi is still a Chelsea player, if I'm being honest. I just couldn't think of another player and wanted an excuse to have a bit of a rant about him. I kind of have this rule that if a player makes a significant contribution to winning a trophy, then they're alright in my book. But Batshuayi is the exception. The bloke is absolutely terrible. In an offside position, sure, he's fucking world class, he never misses, but anything when the ball is in play, he's dreadful. He can't hold it up, he's shit in the air, and he can't score in any context that isn't the third round of the FA Cup. And, as mentioned before, he clearly doesn't seem to know what the offside rule is. He is still a Chelsea player, but I really wish he wasn't. So that's the starting 11 for. They still play for Chelsea FC, aka Chelsea's B team, aka On Loan United, aka Vietesse Arnham Old Boys. Got to name a subs bench though, so goalkeeper I've got Petr Cech, who was added to the playing staff this season as an emergency fourth choice goalkeeper. What I find quite funny about this is that he's actually younger than Willy Caballero. Defensive cover comes in the form of Mangala Sarr, who joined on a free in the summer but is on loan at Porto, and Ethan Ampadu is currently getting relegated at Sheffield United. Danny Drinkwater and Timur Bakayoko will deputise in central midfield if Baker, or for being realistic, Marco van Ginkel get injured. Drinkwater, in my opinion, is hands down the worst signing we've ever made, but Bakayoko was quality until he made a song about how quality he was, and then he became shit. Our forward options will include Victor Moses, of right wing-back fame, who is currently on loan at Spartak Moscow, and Ike Ugbo. I've never heard of him before, but he's 22 and on loan at Cercle Bruges, who I'm assuming are the second best club in Bruges, so it seems a natural fit as a backup striker for this team. So that concludes our video. I didn't lose any subscribers this week, so that's a positive. Your support and persistence with this shit show really means a lot. So if you could like and subscribe, that'd be great, and I'll be back with some more football content with poor editing and even worse audio in a bit.
We're gonna play football, football.